Well, in my view, the main change is that information now comes from many, many sources. So that means that there is much more available that comes from the actors, from the originators of the news, from direct witnesses. So there are many sources of news, and they're of different levels of quality. So the role of journalists is to be able to add more value, to do more in-depth analysis, and to give much wider interpretations in order to make it worthwhile for the readers. So they play a special role in this mass of information that comes from so many sources. And they have to do this more and more, and much less just give the information, much more make sense of this complexity of sources. As in almost everything, if you go into a supermarket, you will find that you have traditional cereals in the same boxes of Kellogg's and all that, and at the same time, you have a lot of sort of homemade, more artisan-like cereals that will be, for diabetics or super organic or whatever. And this is happening everywhere. And I think it'll happen also in journalism. Many forms will coexist. What might die are the traditional newspapers in their original form. But the job of the intelligent journalist, who can serve as a guide in the mass of news, is always going to be valuable. And they will coexist. The whole set of forms of journalism will coexist. I don't know what media will be using the services of journalists, how they will be funded. Some newspapers are already surviving as a combination of web and paper versions, and there are some paper ones that are being given away free in the London trains, for instance. Every evening you can pick up a free newspaper, which is a regular newspaper, quite equivalent to almost any other, but you don't pay for it, but it has a lot of advertising. So maybe, because there are so many things that are now given free, people are used to that, this combination of advertising and free goods or information. Maybe that's one of the forms. But I think there will be many changes and that many innovations are probably still ahead. Both my answers are about the challenges. In terms of what you ask of journalists now, you ask for more interpretation, more comprehension, perhaps more specialization. They'll have to know more about the topics. You can't just put together the information. And for the media, well, a lot of innovation. In order to survive as organizations, media will have to innovate. So I think those are the two big challenges, to innovate in the medium itself and to innovate in the way journalists work. Well, yes, of course. I mean, new media is constantly innovating and constantly finding ways of competing for space, because there are so many of them that people, you're competing for the same public. So I think new media has to find ways of guaranteeing that they get enough public to be able to survive. They are also in danger because of so much competition between the new media themselves.